Welcome back to Playing to Win, a podcast about improving your day-to-day quality of life inside of the gaming world and outside of the gaming world. I'm your host, Travis Paylor, and today we are going over Tournaments 101 in episode 4, the do's and don'ts, everything you need to know about getting ready for an online tournament or a LAN tournament. And joining us as always, we have our co-host, Zane Heron. You know him as Penguin. What's up, Zane?
Dude, we're back-to-back weeks now. We're on a good schedule. We're going to keep it rolling next week. Feeling good, dude.
Yeah, and this is a really fun one. Tournaments 101. I mean, that's kind of important to kind of go over what we all want to, what we need to know, right?
Especially for people who don't know what's going on and people who need to, like a reminder or something. Definitely be a good one for them.
Right. I mean, we've been in COVID, so there hasn't been a lot of LAN opportunities, but there's been a lot of digital online LANs or tournaments. What do you call those?
Just online tournaments. Definitely not LANs. LANs is local area networks.
Oh, so no way. Oh, cool.
Fun fact. So
yeah, I mean, just for the people that maybe don't play as much video games as everybody else, we can kind of just educate them in that breakdown. So let's just go over what we're going to be going over today. For episode 4, Tournaments 101, we have what are some of the most important things to know when you're deciding to compete in a tournament. I think that's really cool. Just kind of the basics, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then esports industry as a whole, maybe just what does esports mean? Where does it kind of fall and play into the scene and why it's so important to an actual video game?
Yeah, especially for people who don't know what esports might be. Like it might be a way to educate them, or for someone who does know what it is but doesn't know a great way to explain it, might help them explain it to someone who doesn't know.
Right. And then how do we keep our community involved? So from a tournament organizing standpoint, or maybe a pro player, how do we kind of engage our community, bring them into the LANs? I mean, we're coming out of COVID, so I'm really hyped to be in person, to get that feeling back, you know?
Dude, I cannot wait to be back at LAN, not playing online with all the latency. Like, I'm actually super excited. I'm excited to talk to the people we have today, too.
Dude, we have some great guests today that are very knowledgeable. They probably have, I don't know, I wonder what the collective tournaments, like, they've been to, right? The number.
Oh, tons of experience being at tournaments and just like helping run them and organize them. So gonna get a lot of great information.
Yeah, and so another thing we're gonna be talking about is just a safe and happy competitive community. That's a tongue twister.
A safe and happy competitive community.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to have like a good environment where everyone can just feel safe and have fun, right? That's the name of the game of any video game, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you're coming together.
While competing, right? It's a competition too. The objective is to win, in fact. And then what to look forward to. I think that there's a lot of stuff on the horizon, and just a little hype leading into that. Well, without further ado, let's take a moment to introduce our two guests. If you play Halo, you know exactly who they are. We have Martin Omes, who is the GT Halo tournament director, as well as the program logistics with Gamers Outreach. We also have Tashi, who is the esports lead for 343 Industries. So excited to have you guys on for our Playing to Wins podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
How you doing, Martin?
We're doing good. Ready to help go over some of the basics.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Tournaments 101, right? I think that there's a lot of, if you've never been to a tournament, there's things that maybe we don't even know what to bring or to get to do, right? So why don't we just get right into it? So the topic is, what are some of the most important things to know when deciding to compete in a tournament? So Tashi, why don't we start with you, since, I mean, you've been in the scene for over 7 years with 343i and are the head of esports, right? Is that correct? That the head of esports for 343i? Yeah.
Esports lead, head of esports is kind of the same thing.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And so what are some of the important things to know when you're deciding to show up to a LAN or online tournaments?
I guess before kind of committing to a tournament, a lot of people see it on Twitter or they hear from their friends, hey, there's this tournament going on. Should we compete either online or go? The first thing you want to think about is, who am I going to play with? Who are my teammates? Do I have a team? Can I find a team, either locally, people around me, or online? Obviously for main HCS competition, it's 4v4. So you need a squad to be able to sign up and compete. So I would say that's one of the biggest considerations. And then the other one is, what is the time and date of the tournament? Am I available? And am I available for potentially the whole day if I do well? I think I've seen a lot of people sign up for tournaments and maybe they only budget like a few hours of time to compete and they end up doing well and the tournament goes longer. And then we've even had some people like, I'm sure Martin, you have stories like people who just have to bail on tournaments because, oh crap, I got to get to work or whatever it might be. So I'm sure Martin has some other things to add, but those are a couple that come top of mind for me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a great point you brought up. I've had people bail on tournaments all the time, especially local lands for some reason. Like people just don't know that they're gonna be an all-day thing. And with more of the HCS tournaments, like if you're there the first day, like you're gonna be there all day, and you know you could potentially be there all weekend. So if you think you're gonna do good, like definitely have the time available. I guess the one other point you brought up was making sure you have a team, and part of that is like being able to find teammates. So I guess I would ask like you, Martin, like you might know some more information about trying to find teammates, and like so how would you go about that? Like what would you do?
Well, it depends on what type of community you're coming from. So obviously we're all coming from the Halo community, but where you have some other communities like Smash who are really forum-based communities, whereas in Halo a lot of the aspect will come into playing on an online, so through Xbox Live or through social medias, finding teammates through Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Discords is a great option. Halo has a Discord where you can find teammates, as well as many community groups such as GT Halo, SWAT Nation, Europa Halo. Great communities if you want to help find players who are more local towards your own region or your type of gameplay that you do prefer.
I mean, Martin, so it's been COVID, and I think we've been doing a lot of online tournaments. So maybe you're a TO, a tournament organizer, and I'd just love to hear just kind of from an online perspective, what are the things to expect, good and bad, and how can you prepare for that? Like, what do you need to bring? What do you need to...
Yeah, one of the key things is that, especially since we're online, it's a teamwork. You need a lot of teamwork coming in from the players. Because at a LAN event, a lot of the organizers, they have admins at each of the stations. They basically help run everything for you. So all you have to do is focus on the game. Whereas in online, if no one is streaming on your matches, for example, there's no way to be able to keep track of what's going on. So you have to be able to not only keep up to date with what's going on with the other tournament players, but with the tournament organizers as well. So making sure you report your scores correctly. I'm saying this for all players. The amount of times I'm not having the scores reported correctly is unbelievable right now.
Do a lot of people fib it, or they just don't write it down, and they're just kind of like,
yeah, whatever, just
we won,
or I put the wrong team, submitted to win, and check it off, or who knows what goes on. But another big aspect is, what is the bracket, or what kind of format are you playing? Is it a single elimination? Is it double elimination? Is it Swiss? And a lot of people still are confused of what is a single elimination bracket, what is a double elimination bracket, what is a Swiss format. So understanding the format of the tournament you are playing in is a key aspect as well, because I've had a lot of players in a double elimination tournament, they lose once, they don't realize it's online that there is a loser's bracket, and they think they're done. And they don't show up for the loser's bracket. I've had that happen several times.
Is that why I wait 45 minutes for a best of 3 sometimes? Like...
So sometimes, and yeah, another thing, since you're online on a LAN environment, that gets to my next point. Since it's not a LAN environment, we're used to on the LAN environment having these admins come to you guys. Okay, guys, let's go. Set up your equipment. Let's go. Okay, no, you do not need a 15-minute flag warm-up. No, you do not need to search a doubles game before you play. Get into the lobby and get going. So the amount of times I've had to hop into people's different streams and say, yo, get out of the search. I don't care if you're gonna DQ or gonna get a ban. Quit your match, get into the lobby, and start your match. Like we don't need to wait 10-15 minutes for you to start your game. And you know what? It's just people have to learn how to organize their time a little bit better on an online setting. So it's not only figuring out, okay, what Tashi was saying on, you look how much time you have to take. It's organizing your time in between. So once you're done a match, okay, you're looking at the bracket. Okay, I possibly have about 20-30 minutes, so I can go to the washroom, I can have a little bit of a snack, and then come back and then be able to warm up again. So a lot of players are struggling right now still how to balance the time, because they realize, oh no, I have a match starting, I didn't warm up yet. So you have to learn how to balance that time and properly schedule it out. So it's really good to have that captain on your team who is that leader who can communicate with the rest of the team and be able to keep your whole team organized.
Okay. So out of like that expectation of like what to expect going into the tournament, like what should you bring to the tournament? I'm gonna ask you first, Tashi. Have you run the tournaments? Have you ever competed at a tournament before? Like a long time ago, maybe?
Yeah, the last one I competed at was MLG Orlando 2011 for Reach. So that was a long.
Dang.
Whoa, that's like almost 10 years
Dang.
ago now.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
kind of tough.
decade.
Holy crap.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
um,
so what would be like the top three things to bring to like a LAN?
your controller, number one, and maybe a backup, as well as a cable and a backup cable. I mean, there
That's
are so
Spartan.
many times where there are so many. I mean, there are so many times where people show up and they're like hunting for a controller. Yo, Tashi, yo, Martin, do you know where I can find an extra controller? Like countless times. Or they lose one and then they don't have another one. They have to go hunting for it. Like bring controllers. Like if you look at who is it? I think some of the guys on Sentinels, like maybe it's Royal too. Like I remember him opening his backpack once and he had like 3 controllers in there. It's like that man is prepared. No matter what happens to these controllers, like he is ready to go.
He's a veteran too.
Absolutely.
He's been in the scene forever.
Yeah.
I bet.
The other thing I'd say is when you're checking in at an event, there's certain information that you'll need when you want to pick up your badge, like a receipt for when you bought the pass, ID, potentially your team with you. You want to make sure you get there early, make sure you have enough time to go through security, and you're getting all your credentials so that you can go in and check in early with the tournament and just get all of that stuff out of the way so that you're just then focusing on like waiting for your match to be called and you can play. You don't want to like get there late and then be thinking about, oh crap, my match is starting in 10 minutes and I haven't even checked in yet or haven't even gone into the where the actual tournament area is. Like get there early, bring extra equipment, and make sure you've got your credentials. Those are my 3 things.
Okay. What about you, Martin?
Let's see, to add on to that, learn the layout of the venue. A lot of people, so to add on to showing up early, learn, because obviously when Tashi and I were competing, MLG had different games going on the same. It wasn't just Halo. You had a lot of different other events and you had booths going on. So when you're stepping in, okay, where is the Halo stations? Where's the admin desk? Where can I find the information? Where's the nearest washroom? Finding even that's an important one because
That's huge.
that's a huge one because the amount of times, the amount of water you're drinking during the events, knowing where to go is a key one to figure out what's going on and if you have any issues going on there. Trying to think of what else Tashi hasn't said. So yeah, controls, cables. I'm usually carrying about 10 US. I'm bringing 10 USB cables with me.
Double digits, huh?
Yeah, no, you have to. I lose about 6 or 7 of them by the course of every event because the player's borrowing it. So it gets to the point where I trade.
Yeah.
No. It's to the point now I trade IDs for cables. So I take your ID, I give you a cable. You don't get your ID back.
I
You
have
don't
gotten
bring it
quite a
up.
few free cables. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Another thing is a headset as well. If you have a headset, make sure you're bringing yourself a headset. That is so. Even figuring out ahead of time what kind, if the event is sponsored, if it's a Turtle Beach or Astro, because sometimes figuring out what headset to bring is an important detail because sometimes there's some compatibility issues between a Turtle Beach headset and an Astro mix amp, for example. So try to see if you can have it match up because you want to be able to connect with the rest of your team. So even having your own, so I'd say I recommend bringing your own mix amp, bringing your own cables to hook up towards the mix amps as well. And depending on the caliber of the LAN, so whether it's a major or just a local, bring a copy of the game with you. You never know what happens. If it's a local, always bring a copy of the game. Sometimes some things happen. Sometimes the game doesn't work. You always want to have your good copy on hand, ready to go, and know your account information if you have to log in.
Yeah.
We're talking about. I was gonna say Gamers for Giving 2000. What was that? 15, Martin. Remember when the
14, 15, yeah.
15 we had the H2A tournament,
Yes.
and the Xbox Live service for game authentication went down during like the grand finals, and so all of the copies on the Xboxes were digital, and so because that service was down, it basically said like, hey player, like you don't own this game so you can't play it. So we had to like run out and get a ton of discs just to finish the tournament. Like that was
I
chaos.
don't know. Taui juggling for 20 minutes was kind of enjoyable.
On
Oh,
stream?
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that, Taui juggling, Pistola telling stories.
Holy jeez. The beauty of live events and how inevitably something is going to go wrong. Whether it's technical or logistical or whatever. I mean, it's live, man, and that's the beauty of it. So let's segue into esports industry as a whole. Why is it important to be hosting esports, and why is it important to invest in tournaments? Tashi, I know maybe we can touch on maybe some grassroots programs and just kind of what we're doing and why it's so important to have esports.
Yeah, so for us, Halo has this super rich legacy in competitive gaming and esports. The game is competitive. People have been competing since the Halo 1 days, and I think generally speaking, like people want to see if they're better than their neighbors, better than people in their city and then state, and then it kind of just continued to snowball from there. And now we have, world championships where we see who's the best player in the world. So there's just a natural, competitive aspect of the game that people are drawn to. And for us, we want to lean into that because Halo is going to continue to be a competitive game. And we know we have this core community that loves to compete and they love to watch it. So, we want to provide some engaging kind of entertainment, right? Whether it's to play or watch. And, while we run stuff at kind of a high level and do some major events, we also know, just like probably all of us, we started in some local community. For me, is playing in my local high school and with my friends there. And, a lot of people get their start competing and have those stories. And so what we want to do is look at folks like GT Halo who build this amazing local community, and help support groups like that and continue to basically create these beacons and support these beacons in the local community around the world so that people have kind of a starting off point. And then who knows, maybe from there they watch more tournaments or I know in the case of GT Halo, there's so much great talent that has come out of that community on a competitive level, and we see so many kind of rising to the top and competing at the highest level today. So for us, it's not only about the big tournaments we run at the top, but also supporting kind of the grassroots movement as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I very much look forward to all those tournaments by GT Halo. There were, what were they, schoolyard events? Those were so fun during COVID, man. I looked forward to those.
Dude, I played in one of those events, and now I'm like really good friends with the two people me and Rain ended up playing with, and like they hang out on my stream all the time. It's crazy.
So Martin, why is it important to invest in tournaments? Why are tournaments so important to esports?
It's just like Tashi was saying, it's the competitive aspect, not only in the gaming and Halo sphere, but in general. Everyone has a little bit of competitive drive within themselves to be able to want to compete and see who is a better player in anything. Like it comes in sports, and when it comes to video games, the ease of access is a lot easier than it would be for sports. If you're playing hockey, you need to spend hundreds of dollars to get equipment. Yes, you do for gaming as well, but you don't really need as much of a physical upbringing as you would in a video game scene. But you still require a lot of other talents, such as the mental strength and reaction strength that you do need in a video game sense. But it's important to just realize where a lot of people's background are coming from. There's a lot of people who are coming from a competitive sports background who picked up injuries or who, for some reason, some things happen. They want to be able to continue that competitive drive. Video games is a great alternative for them. So it's just figuring out where people's based in, and like Tasha was saying about communities, figuring out just who. Video games is a great tool and a great way to bring people together who have that common interest, and they're able to bring people together, and that little connection is able to create those lifelong friendships. Like Zane was saying, just from one simple tournament, you meet a couple people and you go from there. So like for myself, going to my first MLG event, I was over the forums, did not even know the guy who I was going with, and took a bus 4 or 5 hours to meet him, and then we drove 13 hours in his car. And we're still friends to this day. Pat Spankum. I'm not too sure if you know him.
Wow.
Zane.
Yeah, I know Pat.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that story.
Yeah, so him and I rode into it with his car. So it was just It's funny how it works out. Yeah, the players in Canada section in the MLG forums back in the day.
So
Yeah, I love that.
just meeting friends for life, right? That's
Literally, yeah. Dude, we had you guys know Game Collects? Tashi, you know Game Collects?
Yeah.
Dude, we had Game Collects for the longest time. It was I'm not gonna lie, it was dead during Halo 4. But they had an all night LAN first Friday of every month. I was there every time. Sometimes I was the only person there playing Halo. And I went for like a year and a half. And after that year and a half, H2A was finally out, and I was still going every month. Like, Halo was kind of back during H2A. Like, it kind of blew up more in Halo 5. But so Wolfmane started coming to Halo 2 Anniversary lands again. And then randomly he got Rain to come to one. And Rain told me this. He said he looked at me, he saw this chubby, weird-looking kid. He's like, there's no way this kid's any good. Like, he probably sucks. And he plays, like, one matchmaking game with me. We won a 2v4. We both went, like, plus 20 on some random kids. He's like,
my God.
all right, this guy's not too bad. So he started playing with me all the time. Like, local tournaments and, like, stuff like that, it's just crazy. Like, you never know who you're going to meet. You're going to meet someone, and they're just going to be your friend forever, man.
Yeah. And in episode 1, we talk about just building our community through our friends list. So if you have a chance to check out episode 1, we break it down on how to put together a community online and at LANs. So here's a good question. What are the obstacles that we're facing when planning and running a tournament? Martin, maybe you can start us off. I think we've kind of touched on it just on the 101s of our tournaments, but maybe just like, what's the
LAN or online specific you're thinking of?
I mean, obviously we're in COVID. Let's start with online, and then let's work our way into LAN. Maybe do you have a story you can pull on, or what's just the biggest difficulty?
One of the biggest things, obviously, is coming up with the rules. It's always an interesting
That
part.
looks long, low key.
The thing is that you spend hours and weeks working on a rule set that none of the players ever end up reading.
I read it.
Yeah.
The whole thing, front to back.
Like,
wait, there's a backside
line in the section. It says rules, and I sit there and I read like the whole thing. I don't go
I
into like
appreciate that.
prize distribution,
Be like
and whatever. But like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The amount
like
of people
rules about
who
lag
don't-
outs, what seed you are, like host, like you got to know,
Is
You
it
gotta
important to know
and
that?
A lot of people don't end up reading it. So the rule set is definitely one of the key things. And then figuring out everything. Okay, when is the event going to be? What type of audience are you looking for? How big's the tournament going to be capacity-wise? How much are you going to be able to open it up to capacity-wise to fit within that time length? Asking, okay, is this going to be streamed? Do you need who's going to be handling the production? How are you going to be handling that? Do you need additional volunteers or admins to help with the assistance? So you start just breaking it down into different sections of the event and try to figure out, okay, what's the size of the event? What is required for it, and then start breaking it down piece by piece from there.
Yeah, Tashi, I mean, what does it take to put together a tournament?
Yeah, it's a massive effort from a ton of different people and different backgrounds and expertises. Like for us, right now we're in the middle of putting together this full 1-year roadmap for Halo Infinite Esports, and it's a massive effort that is.
give us some spoilers, man.
No spoilers, but I'll give some.
something, dude.
All right,
Actually, I guess
Esports
that is something.
Engine
What's
is
the roadmap?
involved.
Okay.
Esports Engine is involved. Big spoiler.
We've already gotten that.
Yeah, it's true. That's a year old. But yeah, for us, like right now, the way we're planning is we're looking at the entire roadmap and not just kind of one event. So we have to think about at a macro level, how does this all fit together in the structure of a season? So that's kind of like a high level, and then we have to determine which region was the overall format, who are the teams that are going to be flying in from different parts of the world, and how do they fit into the tournament. Like for us, we have a lot of different kind of audiences that we need to serve, if you will. Like we have pro players, we have international pro players, we have amateur players. We have people who like to just come to the event to hang out.
Fans, dude, that's me, 101 right here, baby.
It's huge. And we have viewers online. We have sponsors. We have teams that we need to make sure are taken care of. And then, of course, like we're trying to run a sustainable business. So we have to think about our budget and making sure that, we can continue to do this over the long term, and we're hitting our goals, and, we're proving that to the company. So there's a ton that goes into kind of putting together a tournament. And then you get down to like the more of the logistics, but it's figuring out the venue, what does the stage look like, how many broadcasts, all the talent. Today we were just looking at like stage renders with Esports Engine for the first event, and we were going through like, okay, if I'm a fan sitting here, what am I looking at? And if I'm a player here, what is that experience like? Where are players entering from? Like, we go through all of that, like spare no expense in terms of that time and attention to detail. And there are so many people working on the project. And so, yeah, it's a massive effort.
So looking at that, does that just make you excited for the future? Those
Yeah,
renders?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a huge, we call it like a virtual summit. But since COVID time, like we can't really get in person with Esports Engine, so we do it kind of digitally. But we had this huge like 5-hour meeting where we just kind of went through all the work that we had done together in the last few months, and kind of took a step back and see how we're progressing towards things. And yeah, it's like super energizing, and it recharges the team, and everyone is really excited about all the stuff that we're putting together. And we can kind of imagine how players are going to be excited to play on that stage, and how fans are going to be excited to watch the amazing tournaments. And we're talking about the broadcast, we're looking at the graphics package, and we think it looks amazing and better than Halo's ever had before. And so we just can't wait till the game comes out and we're getting going and we can all kind of hang out in person again. So yeah, we're pumped, to say the least.
Cool.
Dude, I know Infinite's been delayed a whole year, and that's a major bummer. But like, just hearing you talk about that and like all the effort that's going into it, like that's really exciting. Even like with that disappointment, like I'm still excited for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, community, they are in fact working diligently to make this happen, which makes me just so giddy. Anyway, so preserving the competitive integrity. Why is it important to preserve the competitive integrity? It at LANs, at tournaments, and what are the difficult decision-making skills that you have to have as a TO, a tournament organizer, Martin? I mean, what does it take to make those decisions, and how do you deal with that player interface and all that stuff?
You got to make sure you keep an objective mindset at the end of the day. At the end of the day, although I'm friends with you guys in a tournament setting, everyone's an equal player. Everyone's on an equal ground. I'm not going to play favorites no matter who you are. If I give a ruling for one person, I got to be able to give the ruling to the same person. If I let one person come in late, I got to let the another person come in late. It's just as long as you keep everything equal. And when you're looking at it, you got to make a lot of those tough decisions. So making sure you have that step basis within your own organization knows who can make what type of calls in these type of situations where, okay, if there's a restart rule, who's going to be able to in your staff to make that decision to make the rules, or if you have to DQ someone or you have to warn someone. There's many different aspects you have to take into account. So with my teams, for example, it's usually, okay, you're allowed to give warnings, you're allowed to give these type of rules on the restart rules. If you have any questions, you can bring it up to my hand, but you can't disqualify anyone. So that would be my own sole objective, because it's just, if once you have too many voices and too many other people's involvement there, things get a little bit muddy, different opinions get brought in others. So as long as you stick to the rule set you bring forward, and that's what we said, the important stuff is writing those rules, because as long as you have it written down there and as long as you're able to enforce it directly, you should be able to handle it. But sometimes you're going to have those difficult conversations, because players, of course, they don't want to hear those type of things. They want to hear rulings go in their favor, or they don't want to hear bad news. They're going to fight for it. So you have to make sure you know in your head, you know the gameplay, you know the rules well enough to be able to make that objective decision, to explain yourself, why you're making that decision, what are the resolutions as well to go in there, because a lot of people don't realize how much it takes. They're like, okay, we can just restart it. They don't realize, okay, if you just restart it, what goes into effect, where Tashi and I are heads, like, okay, this is going to affect the broadcast by about half an hour. So we have to think about the future aspects. Okay, if you allow this, what's going to happen to the rest of the tournament? If this match gets delayed, then these guys are going to have to wait an extra hour. Another team's going to have to wait an extra hour. So you have to think about the long-term effects not only just the short term. So because teams focus on themselves, we're focused on the whole event on itself. So you have to realize how many moving pieces one little decision will make onto the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, you may only have the venue from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., right? And so you have to kind of keep the ball rolling, right, Tashi? I mean,
that's the real thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just to add on what Martin said, I think, Martin, you made a lot of amazing points. You brought up the venue, Travis. Like, a lot of people don't know, but we had a venue hour limit at South by Southwest. And so while we were everyone was enjoying the show, like, we were kind of sitting in the back sweating. I was just like, okay, like, there are people from the venue who are going to come in and try to shut us down pretty soon if this match doesn't end. You know what I mean? Or like something
it's
goes
happened.
like,
it's happened
yeah.
to me at a Smash event. I was working at a Smash event, and literally the people working inside the venue opened up the doors, made the whole venue freezing, below freezing temperatures. The Smash players are literally shaking on the main stage because the tournament got behind. And these guys are shaking, trying to say, because they're trying to get them to get out so they can tear down and kick us out the venue.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And I think just to touch on Travis, kind of the why all of that is important. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's about the teams competing against each other, right? It's one team versus another, and may the best team win. And that's how all of this started, and that's why all of that kind of still goes on today. So without kind of respecting the competitive integrity, ensuring that the best team wins with as little kind of interruption or interference as possible, like, if that goes away, then the broadcast, the spectacle, all of that doesn't really matter. So it's critical.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So accessibility to players. I mean, how do you keep or bring in the community and keep them involved? How do you get the community involved in a tournament or, just to a LAN? How do you bring them there? How do you get it going? I mean, that's the ultimate question. I mean, from someone who just wants to maybe start a tournament, like, how do you get that started? Or for someone who just wants to show up and watch everybody play, how do we get the community involved?
GT Halo, we're trying to aspects of just being any sort of Toronto Halo player. So you don't have to be a competitive player. You can be, we've had cosplayers, you can be talent, production. Whereas if you look on the front here, we want to be able to not only grow competitive players, but we want to help grow other types of players, where we've had Stress become a top content creator. We've had Shyway now coming in just from while he was working. So Shyway was working at the Microsoft stores, and he's working there. It's like, hey, I know you guys, do you mind if I commentate a couple games? That's where he started it from there. He started, but he was doing other stuff like as well on Smash, but that's how he got into Halo.
That's awesome.
He just asked because he was already working at the store and asked if he could commentate. Productions, look at the Only Zoltan. Now he's the main editor for the Score Esports in their videos. So it's just finding out different aspects and figuring out, okay, what are you trying to target? Who are you trying to target as well?
Dude, even though we only played one round in GTA like schoolyard tournament, I had so much fun just trying to sweat and be competitive. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying my hardest, man, and I still had a blast, So thank you for putting on the schoolyards, especially during COVID. Those were so much fun, man. Tashi, why is it important to keep the community involved?
Yeah, I mean, community is kind of the lifeblood of everything that we do here, right? The community is the players, it's the fans, it's why we do everything. So, the game isn't, like, the game alone is great, it's fun, but the players and the fans kind of make it special, right? They're the ones who are doing amazing things competitively or making great content with it or just having great experiences around it. And like I mentioned, like, kind of it's how it really started for everyone, right? Everyone has those stories of competing at a local LAN like what Martin runs, or competing at your local school or whatever it might be, or even just jumping into matchmaking and meeting random people, and having that transfer into whatever it is, custom games. So yeah, I mean, community is kind of the lifeblood of the whole thing. The game is just kind of like a shell without the people that fill it. So the bigger community that you have, the more passion around the game, the more everyone kind of like benefits from it, right? Like, folks like Martin, for example, running tournaments, like, he's creating a lot of energy and excitement around the game, and fans are excited about that, and they want to be part of it, right? It's something kind of exciting, and like Martin was saying earlier, like it's a common interest, and so we want to continue to grow that wherever we can on the highest level. So when you come to a big HCS event, you feel like you're part of the community and you get to see your friends again that you haven't seen for a while, but also head out to local grassroots events so that you can kind of get your foot in the door and see people more regularly too. So that's kind of the way we think about it.
Yeah, Halo's like the vehicle that transport. Or we could say even Halo's like the pelican that transfers and brings all the ODSTs together, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to touch on that. I think it's important to keep the community involved, especially now, like before Halo Infinite, so that there's something to build on. If we all just got off Halo and just didn't care about it and nobody played and there was nobody doing anything with it, it might be kind of like a mess when Infinite launches. If we're all involved now and we're all like building things and having this structure, it gives people places to go to find things before the game comes out. It builds more hype. Like it has stuff set up in advance so that you're not just all scrambling when it comes out. For me, like I want to get more involved with streaming so like people can see who I am and I'll be relatable and not just a robot on the main stage who wins a game and doesn't get hype ever. Like that's not what I want people to see, and that's not what I want people to think Halo is, because it's not. Like all these players, like some of them do that, but like when it gets down to it, like they have passion, they have drive, like they just need to show it and express that to other people. If people just see this boring thing, like they're not gonna gravitate towards it, they're not gonna want to be a part of it. So we gotta like set ourselves up now, show people like we're real people, like we want to be here and we want you to come with us, because like Halo's a great game, we love it. There's a reason we're still playing it after 20 plus years. There's a reason people are still around from Halo 1. Like we love this game. It's an amazing game, and like we're an amazing community. Like straight up, like there's so many grinders right now. Like I'm so happy to see Mint Blitz doing content. I'm so happy to see Ubernick doing content. I'm so happy to see people streaming Halo 5. My teammate Stellar, like he's probably one of the guys you think is a robot. He actually has a personality. He has something to say. Like he has like information. Like you might relate to him. So like I love the fact that Braden's been streaming, Kevin's been streaming, like all these other teams, like all these other players. Like it's great stuff to see, and I think like building on that, moving forward into Infinite, is going to be very important.
Zane, you are, making my heart sing, dude. That makes me so happy to hear you say all that.
That's what we lacked before. I feel like we all played Halo 5. Nobody streamed scrims except for like Optic, and like that was it. Yeah, and we're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, like. It's exciting, dude. Like, there's pressure. Like, it's crazy. And we just, like, are robots. Like, come on now. We're real people. Like, we got to show people that.
No, I love to hear you say that. And I think the community is kind of wisening up to that, too, which is really great. We were just talking about how I was actually DMing with Echidna because I was just getting her feedback. I'm like, hey, for the new people we brought into the program, like, what do you think? And she was, of course, super excited. But I was just telling her, like, it was so competitive. Like it was so difficult to select which 4 or 5 content creators make it into the program. And when we first started the program, you had the very clear like separation between, who's creating content, regularly and who's not. But now there are so many people grinding content. And like you said, like when the game comes out for Halo Infinite, like if you're not already grinding content now, like you're too late. Like all the people who are already grinding now, like they're the ones who are gonna like grow and have a kind of a built-in stream and be ready to like entertain, because streaming is not just about like turning on the game and playing. Like you're there to kind of like entertain people, grow a community, and that's a skill. And so the more you're able to kind of hone your craft in that way, and this podcast is a great example too. Like you guys are getting out ahead of the game, and I think once Infinite comes out, there's going to be a million other people trying to start, but people are going to gravitate to the ones that the community is already familiar with and they can kind of share with. So I love everything you're saying, Zane. Seriously, I want to give you a hug right now, dude.
Bro.
Yeah, we just had Action Man on our previous episode, just gaming through adversity, and he was your first grassroots partner. And I'd love to just actually, since we have the opportunity, could you kind of tell us the thought process behind that, and just what stemmed grassroots program and why Action Man and all that stuff? I'd love to hear that side of the story.
So let's see. I actually still have the original paper that I wrote up on the grassroots program. At the time, we the only way I could like wrap my head around what to call it, it says in my notebook, it says like HCS Cares. And the idea of the program is like, hey, all of this like community level activity that's been going on from streaming and tournament operators, like that stuff is super important and we care deeply about that and we want to like show it and support that. And so that's where all of like Grassroots came from. And we kind of sat on it for a while because we needed to make sure that we released it at the right time and started the program at the right time. And so that's the way we thought about it. And like, you know, groups like GT Halo and streamers like Action Man and Uber Nick and more folks, like, you know, those are kind of the inspiration for this stuff. Like they're the kind of the North Star, the shining beacons that really inspire us to say like, hey, this stuff is really important. Like we need to try to grow this and support it in any way that we, you know, can. So that's kind of where the Grassroots program started and came from. And so it'll continue to evolve and grow. And for Action Man specifically, like at that time, no one was grinding Halo streams like more than he was. I remember looking at his data on Twitch tracker, and for years it was every single day this man was streaming and grinding.
Dude, he had like 300 hours one month. That's 10 hours a day. That's crazy.
Absurd. Yeah. So he was a no-brainer for us. And I remember having met him at a couple events. I remember actually I talked to him at TwitchCon 2000. Oh man, I guess it would have been 18.
It was 18.
Yeah. And I told him, hey, we've got this new program, HCS Grassroots. He's like, oh man, sounds amazing. And then I was like, dude, we want you to be part of it. And he was like,
perfect Action Man. Oh man, that sounds amazing.
I've had a lot of practice. Oh, dude, whatever you need, Tosh. I'm in. I love
man. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
dude, I love that man. He's a character, and gosh, his streams are so engaging. Like, I click in, and I'm like, what's next? What is he gonna do next?
Yeah,
he's great.
And yeah, I mean, we brought on Nated at the time as well, and yeah, it was just kind of a no-brainer for us. And honestly, I don't think it wasn't until recently we realized like, oh, you know, the community has really taken to the Grassroots program too. And whenever we announce a new wave and bring on new tournament operators and content creators, the community rallies behind these people, and it's amazing. And it's all like, congratulations, can't wait to see what, you know, how you grow. And the creators really get behind it, and it's like a thing that they want to do now. Like Real Life Spartan says, like, he started streaming again because we announced the Grassroots program, and now he's of course entertaining so many fans, and he gets to be part of the program now too. So it's just like helped us like connect these really like special people in the community, not only with us so we can kind of learn from them and get all this energy, but also help them grow and touch more people in the community too. So Grassroots program has been definitely one of the most rewarding things I've had the privilege of working on.
Yeah, it's just bringing the community, the family tighter, right? Just bringing us all a little bit closer and getting to know each other a little bit better, which I love. I absolutely love. So segueing into a safe and happy competitive community. And that is a tongue twister, in fact, like I did at the beginning.
No, it's not, dude.
Dude, it so is. Come on, man. So Zane, why don't you just start us off on just safe and happy community. What is it, Zane?
A safe and happy competitive community.
Yeah, see, dang, dude.
I think you have trouble with the word community.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a big word, man. It's you know, all encompassing. A lot of people in that word. So, you know,
a lot of pressure to say that word.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Anywho, what makes a safe and happy community, Zane?
I think like one of the most important things is to try not to put anyone on an island. Don't isolate people, and like kind of stick together. So, you know, if people aren't behaving appropriately, you got to call them out, but don't necessarily just cast them off altogether. Like try to like teach them and help them learn. And then if people are getting like bullied or they're getting like weird messages from people, like definitely like step up and like, you know, stop that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would like, I've had some crazy messages from people. Like Lydia's had crazy messages from people. Like, that's just not okay, you know? There's like a line, like you can trash talk, but that's got to be like within the game itself and about the game itself. Like, don't go after like other stuff. Don't attack people personally.
Don't make it personal. Yeah. Martin, what makes a safe and happy competitive community in your eyes?
Do you mind if I tell a little bit of a story here?
Would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
story time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit on before the grassroots here, and kind of probably what led to Tashi thinking about this idea here in the first place. I was trying to think of, for GT Halo, for example, we had many years where our local place for lands was actually in the middle of a flea market. On the weekends, we'd rent tables in a flea market, and you'd have people
Okay.
screaming in the middle. Yeah, you can ask all the OGs from
So I
our
could buy
area.
a CRT and then play Smash right then
Yeah,
and there.
yeah,
huh?
right in the so they put us right in the middle, but obviously it's not the safest of environments, and so it got to the question. But we had a lot of people come out because it's a different time than before, where you know what we would be. People were a lot more comfortable with going to random people's houses. Like you didn't know, you'd see a Facebook event. And say,
Yep.
oh, land at this guy's house. Okay, I'm just gonna go. I don't know him, but I'm
Literally
still gonna go to his
16,
house.
just
You
showing
show
up
up.
to a guy's house.
Yeah, you just show up to them, you just chill with them. It's not like that anymore. So it got to the process of, okay, where can you find a location or place that people would be feeling not only safe, but feeling like a welcoming environment. So it got to an idea where Toronto was very lucky where we had 3 Microsoft stores in our area. So I went to the closest store in my area, which was the Square One location. And go figure, I show up to the day and I said, okay, you guys have that backspace there. I know you have these game cases. Are you guys looking to possibly host a bunch of Halo gamers and let us just play for a few and just have some people in the store? And they're like, okay, how many people? Okay, will it be too loud? We're like, no, we're going to make sure because we're in an open environment. We have to make sure that we're teaching the proper language and proper setting to make sure it's fitting for a store environment. So it's not only just teaching our players, okay, what kind of things can you say and not say at an event? So because you're in a public setting and you have the public around you, and it was just talking from there. And the person I was talking to is actually full circle now. Is actually working at HCS now. So it's just a funny thing where I came into the store, talked to this one person, Mr. Divian, and now Divian is able to be working at HCS, which is funny to see from our little ideas. But it was just trying to figure out, okay, we have a location, we have a place, and we're bringing in a lot of gamers and a lot of people feel that safe environment. Okay, I'm just going to the mall. Everyone goes to the mall. I'm going with a couple friends going to the mall, so I'm in an open location. There's people around me. I feel like I'm in a safe place. Now players know they're in a competitive, safe and competitive setting. They're going to be able to interact with one another. And we had one of our first tournaments where we had a lot of our top players absolutely destroy a bunch of the new players. And I literally went up to them after the event and asked, guys, did you even have fun? And a couple of them said, yeah, we destroyed. And a couple other people, and the 2 other players were like, nah, that was boring. It was too easy. It was not fun. I said, exactly. You just discouraged a bunch of players for the first time by staking them every single game,
Right.
and it's not even fun for them.
No, it's not.
And
That's such an interesting take.
these 2 players, I'm gonna introduce who these 2 players were,
Oh, no.
and they're like, yeah, you're right. To the point where every single event from then on, whoever was a new player that showed up for their first time, these 2 players would be like, I'm teaming with these guys. Young,
No
old,
way.
brand new, whoever they are, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to team with them, I'm going to sit next to them and team with them. Those 2 players, Druk and Musa.
Love that. That's cool.
So
That's really funny.
That's cool.
Something
So-
you don't know. These 2 guys are amazing community representatives. So you have to make sure when you're building that safe environment, it's tough to be a lone player. You have to have a lot of other people supporting staff to help you carry out that vision you're looking to bring towards the community. And those guys are perfect examples for it, where they are constantly teaming with new guys. And that's what brought into my idea of the schoolyard format. So in a LAN environment, what we actually do is our top players, if you remember the Combine days in MLG, where you have the guys in the clipboards and they're rating the players. We actually do that in GT Halo, where we had our top players. So you have Musa, Druk, Stress, going around seeing all the players do a free-for-all, and they're writing down, and then we do a draft one by one. The last tournament we had prior to COVID, every single series went to a Game 5.
Oh.
Every series. Because
That's
the teams
fun.
were just so flat out even.
Wait,
So
that's
it
what
was-
happened in our. That's what happened in my schoolyard, Loki. I think. I think we went to game
Yeah.
5 like 3 times, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh my
you did.
gosh.
You did. Yeah, you don't think about it, and so you're trying to create that equal footing. And so, like I said, in our environment, you want to create that equal footing. So it's allowing for players to create and learn about themselves, but find those different things. But we're in a safe place where people realize, okay, there's things you can say, so you can trash talk, you can yell a little bit, but you can't be saying some other things because look about this, you have a bunch of families around you right now. You're really going to be saying that. But then it brought into where I started to try to get other Microsoft Store locations brought in, like, hey, let's get Detroit. So we did a Toronto versus Detroit event, or a Toronto versus Atlanta event, and we were starting to take on, and even though we were winning,
was
other
you?
guesses, yes. So we were.
I was
starting,
in one
we
of
were
those.
I know you were in one of those. So it
I
just
dominated.
we started in building one of those, and people realized, okay, they wanted to be part. They wanted to be part of that Toronto team. They wanted to come and show up to the events. They wanted to be part of their city, and then it brought into where Microsoft finally just took it and said, okay, we're going to be bringing these to all these stores, which is fantastic.
It's actually so
to
cool. I
see.
remember that.
And it's unfortunate because of COVID what happened, and we'll have to see what goes on there. But we've had that idea of safe places, and now I was fortunate to have Landlords as a gaming center. We're hosting overnight LANs. So we had like bring your sleeping bag and get ready to play Halo all night. And we had Rock Band going on the side. We had people bringing their own food. So we just we're not
You're
only
making me miss
building.
game clicks, man.
No, I know, but it's just you're not building. You should go into folks. You're not looking to just win. You're looking into create a better person of yourself. You're looking to create friends. You're looking to meet other people. You're looking to step out of your own comfort zone. A lot of people on an online environment. That's why Zane, you always say, and a lot of top players said, you find out how a real player is when you put them on a LAN setting because they're outside of their own
100%.
bubble. Everyone's in their
It's the
comfort
pressure.
zone. But yeah, you put them outside the comfort zone. What kind of player, what kind of person do they come? Put myself in a LAN setting, I become a much better player because I just feed off that energy. Whether in a comfort, I'm too relaxed,
No, I feel that. I was thinking this today. I was literally like, dude, I suck online. Why is that? And it's the adrenaline. Like, it's the other players getting into it. It's all that
Dude, the
stuff.
fans screaming out the org that you're playing underneath or your actual like gamer tag, dude. Like, I don't know. For me, like when I'm at a LAN, like I like every game, like I don't play favorites with orgs, but I just like every matchup, I'm like, yo, all right, this is the team I'm rooting for this game. And I just go all in and I yell their names. I freaking get hype and it is so fun. Zane, do you feel that vibe when you're on a main stage and you hear people like yelling out Penguin or like, holy jeez, he just got a no scope? Do you?
By my demeanor, nobody would ever know, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
No, I think the last LAN tournament, I decided like, you know what, like I actually get kind of excited. So like I was like, if I do anything cool, I'm actually gonna like scream.
Yeah.
And I got an overkill on Tox, and I was like, I like screamed and nobody noticed, and I was like, okay, well, all
dang
right.
it.
Aw.
Some people saw.
You have
know?
that great environment, Travis. Like I just remember, like it was Boo Boo Doo breakout tournament. I think it was at one of those MLG Columbuses, and I was with Kelly Madden, K Mattify, and him and I started a Boo Boo Doo chant. So the first one, and then at the end he's like, "Did we really just start a Boo Boo Doo chant?"
Ain't nothing wrong with a boo doo chant.
So but the first time, it was the first time, and I was like, who the heck is this guy? And he was popping up, I forget what, it was Elevate? I don't know, it was Elevate. I don't even remember.
It was a team
But-
that they played under.
Yeah, it was whatever team, but
What
at the
game,
end of the
what
day, it was a Halo 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, this would have been the
Are you talking
2016
about- are you talking
qualifier,
about-
probably.
Regionals?
It's probably
Yeah.
regionals.
Denial.
Denial, thank
Dang.
you. And
that
yeah, no,
memory.
just starting that, but just you create those, you just be able to create those moments in the LAN environment. But the key thing is that when you have in that local area is just bringing that local area towards a big event. So one of the big reasons for Toronto, for example, it's very expensive to go to a major tournament because we haven't had a major Halo tournament, for example, since 2008. So for ourselves, we have to go to the States or UK or EU for a tournament. It's expensive. You're putting in maybe $1,000 of your own money.
Planes,
to
hotels,
pay your
food,
entrance, plane,
entrance.
hotel, everything.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where you have that local community to the point where For a UGC St. Louis, we have 6 guys in a 5-person car driving down to St. Louis. And you have 8 guys sleeping in your hotel room with a tire iron and a posy sleeping in your bathtub, for example.
Wait, where did these extra guys come from?
Yeah, how did you guys?
They weren't in the car. Where
No,
did
it
they come
doesn't.
from?
You pick
them up
them
on the way.
So you pick them up because, for example, like when I'm running tournaments, I get a few of the times I luckily got a hotel room. So it's just like a lot of players can't afford a hotel room, so I'd let the players stay in my hotel room. So I'd have like 10 or 11 people. It's like, just bring a sleeping bag, take a place on the floor. My rules, as long as you don't wake me up, don't come in drunk.
If
I'm
you
gonna
snore
be.
like a Gatling gun, you're out.
But it's just like you have to.
Scott,
Oh
you
my
gotta
God.
go, man.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
if you have a local environment, you'll be able to create those relationships to where you're able to start to afford to go to one of these events, to want to drive. Dude, the road trips, that for me, the event is great, but for me, a lot of my stories come from the road trips. They're driving those 18 hours to an event, driving those 11 hours, 12 hours to an event. For us, because, like I said, it's cheaper for me to fly to London, England, than sometimes would be flying to LA.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
build
so-
those stories along the way too, right? I mean, again, it's building that community. So Tashi, a safe and happy competitive community, why is it important, and what do we do to make that happen?
Yeah, so I think why it's important is obviously when people go to events or compete online, like everyone's there to have fun and have a good time and have a great experience. Like if people are worried about their safety or questioning, like, am I safe in this environment? Well, one, like their safety, their actual safety is super critical. But two, if they're not feeling safe, then no one's having a good time. So it's absolutely critical. And, we go to great lengths behind the scenes to ensure that our events are safe. And we're working with tournament operators who, understand how to take correct safety protocols into place. And, it's absolutely critical. So for us, I think, really ensuring that there's a sense of community amongst all the players and fans together. We can't look at each other as, just other people. We're all here together. We're all here for the love of Halo. Everyone's trying to have a good time and compete and see each other. And I think as long as everyone looks at the person next to them, even though if they've never met them, as, part of the community and really part of your, extended family, then, you can take that forward and ensure, like you were saying, Zane, like if there's any situations where you need to protect each other, like, you're able to do that. Like for me, like, I have neighbors around here. Like if I see a neighbor, in distress or whatever, like I don't know that person. I've never met them, but that's my neighbor, And so you need to, when you go to a Halo event and even play online in tournaments, like you need to treat your community as like your local community, extended family, and care for one another. So, I think if that kind of culture permeates within the Halo community, everyone's looking after one another. And I'll say, like, I think we have a great community, and I think we do a lot of that already. So I would say let's keep it up, and especially when Halo Infinite comes out, we're probably going to have a lot of new players, maybe who've never been part of the community before. Like, let's make it welcoming, let's make it open. Let's get people, when they come to the first event for the first time, like, they have a great time, they feel comfortable and safe, and they make new friends, and they want to come back to the next one. So we got to make sure we keep that in mind for each other.
Yeah, and Tashi didn't mention it, but he can talk about the amount of hours he takes in planning the security just to make sure it is a safe environment at a LAN event, having those security checks, bringing in what is allowed inside a venue, what isn't allowed in a venue. That's another huge 101 tip to think about. What can you bring? What can you bring a backpack? Does it got to be a clear bag? They go into that. The amount of stuff like you have to prepare for. We read the social media. Trust us. Sometimes it doesn't look like it, but we read it. If you guys two guys are having an absolute beef and take it out of hand, we got to be prepared for, like, okay, these two guys had a lot of beef. We have to be prepared for something that would happen. We've had fights break out once, and we had to be. And the thing is, it never escalated because we were already like, okay, I was able to tell the admin ahead of time, okay, these two guys, they don't have a good history, be prepared, and they're able to break everything down before it escalated to an extreme sense. So there's a lot of preparation that comes in a TO sense when it comes to a safe and secure environment as well.
Keeping your finger on the pulse, right? And knowing what's going on in the community is very important. So I'd like to kind of go in two directions. And since we're kind of on this topic, how do we ask for help? Where do we go if we need help? I think that for our viewers and listeners, that's some good insight. If, at a LAN or online, if we're experiencing something, someone's as simple as online DDoSing us during a tournament, or at a LAN, someone saying things that is just not sitting well. What do we do?
Yeah, I think your tournament operators are going to be your first kind of support system, right? If you're online, you should be connected to the admins and the people running the event. And, depending on the platform, it's either communicating through a Discord channel or directly on the platform in a chat room. Those are usually the first time that you can kind of flag something that, is not sitting well with you. At a live event, we typically have security at every entrance, and you've got admins and tournament operators everywhere. They're typically wearing a lanyard that says staff or something like that. You can at any moment, ask those people for help, or say, hey, I saw something that looked a lot kind of fishy. Can you help me out here, or can you look into this? And even if that person might not be the one who can help you, they can typically find someone who can. So, I would say just know that you're not alone. You don't have to try to figure this out yourself or go it alone. Even if you, are outside the venue premises and, there aren't a tournament operator around, make sure you have contact with your friends. Make sure they know where you are at all times. And, if you're not comfortable in a certain environment, then try your best to remove yourself from that environment. So, I would say, those are kind of the main things. But yeah, definitely, you are not alone. So there are people there who are literally there to help you.
Yeah, like that family, the bunch of brothers and sisters. So we've got each other's backs, right? It's really important to. I love that, Tashi. I think that's really profound. Martin, anything if from your TO perspective, someone asking for help, what's the best way to approach that?
Best way to approach it, Tashi already spoke about most of it, but if you're not sure of anything, always the best way is just to ask before as well. That's why I said, if you're brand new to it, go over the rules. If you have any questions, reach out to the operators ahead of time, because there's many people who, when the event starts, they panic. Oh, what do I do now? Who do I contact? What goes on now? Prepare yourself ahead of time, and if you do have questions, don't be afraid to shoot like a day before. Hey, when is this coming out? Or I have a question about this. So you feel much more comfortable then when you get to that LAN environment. You have that information in your head. Okay, I have the answers already. So when you do show up, you feel a lot more at ease because you already know the solutions that are brought forward or what you have to do when you get there. So just preparing yourself. A lot of people don't realize it's TOs, but in gamers as well. It's about 75% Zane, I'd say, is preparation. Like for you guys practice and everything. It's the same in TO sense. This 75% is preparation, the rest is execution and then finalizing.
Yeah, I think on just a base level, even before asking for help, just treat everyone with respect. Don't say things to someone else you wouldn't say to your mom. And you can trash talk, you can tell people they suck, whatever, but also don't be afraid to get that dish back at you. Don't go overboard, don't cross lines, keep it in the game, about the game. Don't get personal, and so I think for trash talk, I'm sure there's probably a code of conduct somewhere that mentions something about that. Maybe you guys can is there? I've read some things where it goes over trash talk, but I don't know if there's specific things you're not allowed to say. But yeah,
there's a code of conduct for these Face of tournaments online, and we'll have a very clearly laid out code of conduct for Halo Infinite tournaments, and that whole handbook will be available before the game even comes out. So that stuff will all be kind of clearly labeled, and feel free to kind of reference it, of course, and understand what are the do's and don'ts, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important, right, to keep just everybody happy, right? I mean, I think it's in episode 2, Dr. Corey says, in fact, esports is a sport. We're all athletes, right? So it is competitive, right? Things get there's high dollar prize pool on the line, right? I mean, nerves get going. It's fun for a fan to kind of see that friendly competition of trash talking, right? And then there's that, as Zane said, that line being crossed potentially, right? So yeah, Martin. I mean,
to add a last point there is just, Zane might have briefly mentioned it, but the key thing is people have to remember when the game is done, the game is done. Keep it in the game. Whenever it's the same in sports. When the game is done, you shake hands with your opponents. You give them a high five. You might hate them, but it's just like, all right, respect.
I hate good games.
No, but it's good games, man. At the end of the day, it's like, even if you don't like them, you might not like them, but you still have to say, good game, man. Give a props or a handshake to the other team, and then move on with your business. Don't take it outside. Don't take it. You gotta get out of that environment. And a lot of players, like you said, when you trash talk, you gotta expect it back. And a lot of people are willing to give it, but they gotta learn sometimes to take it as well. And that just comes with experience, and then just learning about yourself. You learn your mentality, what kind of adjustment it'll take. And trust me, at our local lands, we prepare our young players to that type of environment.
And it's sportsmanship, right? I mean, as an athlete, you have to have good sportsmanship, right? And I love that. Yeah, keep it in the game. Don't take it out of the game. And keep it competitive, because that's what makes it fun, right? I mean, it is the objective is to win. And, some people just play to play, like Action Man said. I thought that was so good. But so as an individual, what can we do to help our community, just from a safety's perspective? What can I do as an individual, as a fan being at an event? Tashi, I mean, is there anything that you'd advise, or?
Yeah, I would say, just be aware of your surroundings and the people around you, and don't be afraid to, if you see something that looks suspicious, or you think someone's in a compromised position and being taken advantage of, or anything like that, or you hear something, don't be afraid to tell an admin, tell someone in security. The worst thing that happens is they investigate and end up being nothing, right? So it doesn't hurt to ensure the safety of like I said, like your extended family around you and your community. So just look around. There are people to help, and it also doesn't hurt to check in on people too. Some people, after a tough loss, not feeling so good, it doesn't hurt to say, hey man, tough game, how are you guys feeling, good luck going forward. Like little words like that from a stranger who's still in your community, that stuff could help someone out and make sure they're feeling better. So yeah, just little things like that.
And taking your question to a different angle, if you're a new player, make sure you're respecting everybody's space. Sometimes it might be an exciting time, like, hey, oh my gosh, I get to see Snakebite for the first time ever. I'm going to run up to him while he's practicing and try to get a picture and an autograph. You see it happening, but it's just like, or right after you just lost a heartbreaking series and someone's coming out to you, hey, I want to take some photos and stuff. Like, sometimes you got to realize you respect the other player's space, respect the type of environments. For the pro players, they usually have dedicated time signings. So just learn a bit about other people. I know sometimes it's exciting, but try to put yourself in their type of footprints and their footsteps as well. And because trust me, for a first event, it's a bit overwhelming, and you want to get everything done. Take your time, take your place, and then just be yourself. But make sure keep it cool as well.
Yeah. So do your actions affect the future of attending events or participating in other events in the Halo realm, Martin? I mean, certain things that happen. Are there repercussions, and how do we go about doing that?
So, like, what are the repercussions?
Yeah, what are the repercussions? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's everything from you could be removed from the venue at times. You could be not allowed to go to compete in future tournaments. You have to always look into the future. Some things you do might just affect your future when it comes to competing or being able to attend events. It's just being able to take those precautionary steps, work within the other TOs and game developers, make sure you're on the same page. Because if something happens in your event, it's a lot of communication. Be like, let's say somebody cheats in a GT Halo event. I'll be going over to Europa and SWAT Nation, be like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy. He just cheated in our tournament. And they'll be like, oh, really? What did he do? And I'll be telling them, they're like, okay, we're going to keep an eye. Most likely, we're not going to let him compete in our events, too. So it's just realize your one action can really take a toll, because the communication between one another, we have to make sure we're on the same page, presenting that united front to make sure that you can't really just get away with it and think, oh, I'm just going to go somewhere else and I'll be okay with it, you know?
Yeah, Tashi, any repercussions or sage knowledge as to what happens if someone messes up, and what to maybe advise people to not do or do, or all that jazz?
Yeah, I would say in terms of doing, focus on the game, focus on competing. If you get up there and you're professional and you're trying to win and you're doing so in a fair and honest way, you're going to be fine. The moment you start trying to get into nefarious actions, both in and out of the game, that's when the repercussions come in, and it could be as small as just a warning by one of the admins. It could escalate all the way up to being kicked out of an event, which we've had to do before, as well as potentially indefinite suspensions, which we've also had to do. So, I would say focus on your game. Make sure you're sticking with the right people, and that should cover it. Yeah, focus on being good at Halo, and you will probably stay out of trouble that way.
Don't do anything LeBron James wouldn't do in public.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes put your phone away sometimes, because social media it's different than when we grew up as players. Tashi, we didn't have that huge aspects with the social media. Nowadays, you have so many different platforms, and some people's first reaction is pull out their phone. Sometimes I learned this phrase from Call of Duty, but sometimes you gotta just slow down, hit the regain. Just compose yourself once again, get yourself focused again. Sometimes think about what you're typing, because what you're typing sometimes is spread out to a public knowledge, and whatever's in print, other people are going to be able to see it. So sometimes take 2 seconds and think before you act.
Yeah, that knee-jerk reaction could be ugly. I mean, I think it's so easy. Yeah. So, what is the future looking like in Halo and esports? What do we have to kind of look forward to on a more positive note? Let's we've covered all the things we had to, and let's start looking towards the things we want to, right? Tashi, anything you can kind of just say to get us looking forward to the future?
Yeah. So Halo Infinite is on the horizon. It's going to be here before we know it. So still releasing fall of this year, and for us, this will be the first time really the official HCS League is back in full force since the end of 2018. So we're looking at a global program, tournaments around the world, big prize pools, Halo World Championship, back on big stages, working with great tournament operator partners. We've only announced Esports Engine right now, but there are definitely more who are going to be contributing to the scene overall. And for us, we really haven't had the, I would say, resources and the time to put into the HCS program like we have had for Halo Infinite. So we're kind of turning over every stone that we can. The philosophy, and this is kind of like a broken record for me on so many different work meetings, but just trying to create as many different 1 + 1 = 3 type scenarios as possible, right? How do we, all work together to create something special and do something where we couldn't have done it alone, right? It's kind of like that phrase, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So that's really what we're trying to do. In the famous words of Sundance, we're trying to co-produce a movement. So that's what this is all about. Halo Infinite's going to be out on console and PC. It'll be free to play. It's going to be a ton of Halo players jumping in, which, we're very thankful for. And so, it's a big moment for the community. So let's kick some ass.
Yeah. Get ready for it, right?
Absolutely. It's coming.
Yeah.
Open tournaments?
Of course.
Let's go, dude. Love open tournaments.
What about online tournaments? Are we going to take what we've learned through COVID? And Zane's saying no.
No, we'll have online tournaments. I just don't
You need online tournaments.
You have to have them.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, Martin was just telling the stories about driving 18 hours like cross borders to kind of get to events. Like, not everyone can do that, and for a lot of people it starts with online tournaments. So yeah, we're absolutely going to have a mix of online tournaments and LAN events, and we're going to have official tournaments that we're running and working with grassroots partners to also get online tournaments. Like, we want there to be a bustling online tournament scene, so when Zane, you're streaming on a random Tuesday,
let's go.
You're not just like, you're competing in something. Right?
That's definitely the one thing I like about online tournaments. Like, you can just put on one every day of the week if you wanted to and had the means. So like, that's good. But like, I love LAN tournaments. Like, that's the end goal for me.
Yeah. So we're we're working on locking up venues and stuff right now, and yeah, I just can't wait, man. Like, I miss the community. I miss seeing everybody. I miss watching people like Zane pull off insane plays. I still remember Zane. This was actually in Pro League, but that crazy flag throw you had across Coliseum with Rain. Do you remember this?
Window to window.
Yeah, and like, I forgot who it was that jumped out and then thrusted back in, but
it was probably Tim.
I lost it. But yeah, I want to see amazing stuff like that, like with huge stakes on a stage, feeling the place rumble, and people go nuts. Like, I miss that. So I'm excited to do that, and it's gonna be it's gonna be epic.
Nothing beats a hyped high five. Am I right?
It's
I
true.
ever given a high five?
What?
Fist bumps for sure. I'm not sure if I've ever given a high five.
Well,
We need to bring high fives back.
Yeah, your hands are a commodity. Us fans, we go for it, man. We don't care about our hands.
I don't know. In a post-COVID world, everyone's gotten used to more elbows.
The elbow bump.
Yeah, the elbow
Oh
bumps.
man.
Martin, what can you what can we look forward to in the upcoming events for Halo Infinite? What's coming up around the corner? What are you excited for?
Well, there's still a period. People are tend to forgetting. There's still a period before Halo Infinite. The HCS Pro League season's coming to a finish in a week, or depending whenever this comes out. So it might have just finished, but there's still a period of time before Infinite comes out, and it's gonna come down to those community TOs like myself to keep that entertainment, keep the content juices flowing, be able to get to that final piece. And you know what? A lot of people, here we go, a little intel, a lot of people really enjoyed the Grassroots Cup. Maybe we bring that back for another installment,
I need to redeem myself.
Where we bring in 343 staff to play against some of the top content creators in a little tournament.
Oh, let's get a pro-am going. Me and Tashi versus Stellar and someone.
Well, we'll save that for our Louis V Titans Money Tuesday,
Dude,
Me and Action Man versus Ninja and Stellar.
Louis V Titan is killing it, man. That production value and what he's doing is beautiful. What a shout out. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the cool thing about, I think, what COVID has done is forced us to look inwards what we can do in preparations for when it's time to open the doors and get back out in the world, right? And so that's why I was like, let's do this podcast. I'm freaking bored. Let's kill some time. And why not? Yeah.
I'm still in lockdown over here, and I've been in lockdown for a long time, so.
Right. And what better to do a podcast about Halo, something that, in fact, it's what I do to just kill time, and during COVID, it's the schoolyards, again, the GT Halo schoolyards, man, they so fun, dude. Like, got me through some crazy COVID isolation moments where, meeting two other people that were in the community and I heard about. I teamed with Lady Akenda and Anthony on one of the teams, and my friend and producer on the show,
that's
Alex
sweaty.
Athropax. Dude, it was so fun.
That's a
like,
sweaty team.
Sweaty team, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And
well, I'm not good, so like I was just like, hey, like I know call outs, I'll be on the map, and you just tell me where to go. And
Yeah, but it's just,
I had so much fun, dude. I
figuring
learned.
it out.
Yeah, so thank you so much for putting that together. So I'd love to just conclude on what can we be doing to prepare for getting out of COVID, getting ready for Halo Infinite.
Grind your
Keep
favorite
gaming.
game and grind the content.
Yeah, keep gaming, keep streaming, or start a stream. Get on YouTube as well. I love to see so many streamers start uploading to YouTube, even if it's just gameplay. It's a huge opportunity on YouTube. Don't fall behind on that. But yeah, I would say keep the positivity, keep gaming. Halo Infinite will be here before you know it. Make sure you're ready.
Yeah.
From myself, at the end of the day, remind yourself why you're playing the game. You're trying to have fun. Most people forget, like, yeah, I know you're going into a competitive environment. You want to be the best. You want to put in all the work and effort, but you remind yourself at the end of the day, you got to have fun. You got to make sure you're mentally there, because sometimes if you try not to burn yourself out at the same time, find that balance, enjoy yourself, because this is a great time. You're stuck in a place right now. You might as well learn a lot about yourself. So review gameplay, watch over, see what other players are doing. You got a lot of time right now. Utilize that to figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Dude, I love that you said that though. Actually, like since I started streaming, like that's all I've been doing. I've literally just been playing Halo 5 for fun, which is like a weird thing because I played it for so long just to try to be the best. Now I'm just trying to do it to entertain people, and like I'm just having fun with people in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like Gate came with the idea. Like, we had the Paint Row Raid tournament where we had a competitive Rochambeau and paintball tournament.
Dude, Rochambeau's the greatest Halo 5 game type of all time, and
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying.
convinced
We had a couple of competitive tournaments for that. We had players from all over competing in that. We had almost 48 teams competing.
Hold
in
on, I need another one of those. I need to sign
Yeah,
up.
you missed two of them. It was paintball, which is a great. Do you know what paintball is? With Plasma Pistols,
Yeah,
One
yeah.
Shot Death. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had that one, and it was a lot of fun. And we had a lot of teams come out for those tournaments. We included a couple other fun game types like Mongoose Sumo in there, Husky Raid.
Oh, dude, what am I doing with my life?
Dude,
We had a
actually
lot.
sucked.
We had a lot of teams, and we had a lot of fun for that. And I remember Unisec coming in. And he's like, "I didn't expect to enjoy this event. But this is all the most hyped content I've seen."
That's awesome.
So it's just like sometimes you just gotta remember, like, you have fun. There's so many different, and Halo has so many opportunities. Remember the times, like sometimes, I know you want to be competitive, but sometimes just play a duck hunt, play a mongoose sumo. Sometimes just remember, just chill out a little bit, have a little bit of a breather, and remember yourself why you're playing this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember putting my tube TV on a skateboard and pushing it down the street. Kids don't remember that, but I do. Hey, do you wanna play campaign? Yeah, but I have a really bad controller and I don't want to play on split screen. Oh, okay, cool. I'll push down my tube TV to you and we'll play Xbox. That's cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on our episode 3. Hey, our Tournament
4.
101. Yeah, what is it?
What would we do without you?
Episode 4, dude. My brain's all like freaking out of it. I've been trying to work out since episode 2, which is healthy gaming. So I've been trying to really implement that. And I went for a run today, and I'm just freaking out of
Dude,
it.
that's another thing to prepare for Infinite. Lift some weights, or go on a walk, a run, whatever. Just get moving.
Yeah. Well,
Because you're gonna be doing a lot of sitting when Infinite drops. I'll tell you that.
Boo Doo is having a track meet at the first event. Make sure you're ready for it.
is he?
Wait, can I throw shot
sounds
put?
fun.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
I think
Ryan here, but
yeah.
Kenna and I are renting a we're renting a soccer field, and we're ready to go.
Oh,
Okay.
hell yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think Joey, aka Trippy's a little bit ahead of some people. So
Everybody,
everybody,
He's
dude, that
losing
guy
the
has
track meet,
fit.
though.
the
He's an
Greek
iron.
god.
Yeah, dude. Well, guys, thank you so much, Tashi, Martin, for joining us on episode 4, Tournaments 101. I'm your host, Travis Paler, and Zane, our co-host, Penguin.
Dude, thank you guys so much, and thank you, Martin, for being up this late. You are a saint. I love you, man.
No problem, guys. I apologize to the viewers who are
Thank
been
you,
wondering
Tashi.
why is this man yawning so much.
It's like 1 a.m., dude.
It's an
And thank
evening
you
recording.
for busy day, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much.
Cool. That was fun.